The good funnel behaves like a friendly psychologist, like friendly therapist that talks to you and they understand you, they support you.
Web funnels are super hot right now. Vendors promise more ROI, bigger audience reach, lower cost of acquisition, even higher LTV. Question is, are they something that you should be offering for your app? Hello and welcome to Growth Masterminds, the podcast for growth marketers. My name is John Koetsier. Today we're chatting with the CEO of Web2Wave. His name is Igor Lyubimov, and he says web funnels can help top mobile apps 10x their revenue. Hello, Igor. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. What about you?
Doing better than you. It's 11 p.m. your time here in Barcelona. It's 2 p.m. my time in Vancouver, Canada. But hey, I thank you for joining. Let's start here. 10x is a lot. How's that? How are you accomplishing that?
So at first, you are not limited in how you can sell subscriptions, how you can promote your unproductive offers on the paywalls. So basically, it's a big problem, well, big limitations the App Store and Google Play put into developers. So you have to clearly explain all the rules of your subscriptions. You have to highlight that you are subscribing to a free trial. It's good for the users, but it may be not that good for the app owners because, well, they just put a lot of limitations. And at first, like you just sell more, the conversions are lower. And then you also have a lot of rejections on the App Store review. And because of that, like your wall development decreases. So the first thing is that you can improve conversions on the paywall. This is like the first part. Second, the LTV is higher just because the renewal rates on web are way more higher than in mobile, because in mobile, users know how to cancel their subscription. And usually when you sell a free trial, a lot of users will go directly to their account settings and they will just cancel the free trial. It doesn't work like that on web. On web, basically, people do not know how to cancel their subscription. And like our recommendation is not to hide it too far, because you may have some problems with Stripe, and we will talk about that later, with Stripe or even with Apple Store. Like, for instance, we had a lot of cases when mobile applications, our clients, not our clients, they hid the unsubscribe button or like completely removed it from mobile application. So users went to the App Store, left negative reviews, and in some time, Apple came after this application saying like, hey guys, you have very negative reviews. They all like, they're not happy about the payment flow. So like take some actions and improve that. So like from one side, like you can improve LTV by hiding the link, but it also brings a lot of risks to your application. So this was the second improvement. Third is, and one of the most important, is the attribution and the easiness of marketing on web, because on mobile we have Scan, SCAT, ATT, IDFA. Well, all of these abbreviation that brings a lot of pain to app developers. And basically, because of them, like your performance marketing is not actually like a performance marketing. You may not see the actual source of your traffic. Still, we have some solutions, for instance, like Facebook SDK. It works pretty fine, like way more better than we had to struggle like a couple years ago. Now it works fine, but still it does not attribute all of your users directly to the ad campaigns in Facebook and Meta. But on web, you send events directly to Metapixel. So you receive all the events like almost in real time, like in a few minutes, they will be in your cabinet. You don't need to go over that threshold that is required by SCAD networks. And because of that, you have really like performance marketing. You can clearly understand from which video creative, from which campaign your user came, and you can send attribution to this user like in real time. So it's really fast to get results for your campaign. We even had cases when our clients, they turned on their advertising campaigns and they got like 100% of ROAS in the first day. The Pixel,
That's impressive.
Yeah. And Pixel can learn really fast. Like there are like multiple strategies how you can optimize your Pixel. Like basically, like there are two ways how you do that. The first one is like you optimize to the subscribe event, and eventually you will also send the users to subscribe event. But in this case, you may spend a lot of money in the beginning because like Pixel didn't see subscribe events before, so you had to get a bunch of them to start optimizing. So in this way, you can start like with bad results, but eventually they will become way more better. And the other way is when you optimize your pixel for the proxy event, something like initiate checkout or paywall view, something like that. And in this way, you can get like results faster, but like you will get better conversions into like start of the quiz, start of the onboarding, finishing the onboarding, and initiating checkout. And because of that, you can start with like lower budgets, educate your pixel to get the users who are, well, at least they complete the quiz and they see your paywall. And then you eventually switch to the subscribe. So like there are multiple ways how you can do the campaign optimizations that in this way is not available on mobile. So you spend more, your marketing budget's like way more optimized than on mobile. And this is like the third way how you can improve your revenue. Fourth is that you can promote your application, for instance, for desktop users. Because, well, on mobile, you have to show it to only like users on mobile, but like with web, you can send the users to desktop, and we see like 10, sometimes 15, maybe 20% of users who purchase on desktop. And well, it's additional revenue that you couldn't get before. So, and having all of that, it just improves like the conversions and LTV for like your existing users. And then with all of this stuff, you can experiment way more faster. Like you can launch 10 different funnels for 10 different audiences in 1 month. Test all of them, understand what works better, find the best creative, what we call like creative channel fit. So you find those creatives and funnels that will convert more, and you scale them. In mobile, it's not that easy to launch 10 different funnels. Like there are not much of the like onboarding builders on the market. Like for instance, we in Web2Way, we released an ability to embed our onboarding into mobile application, so our clients can experiment way more faster with onboarding. It's not with the payables because of it's like native payments and it's like completely different stuff. But with onboardings, like you have to experiment with them a lot. And with web funnels, I mean, like we had clients who experimented with like 10, 15 of different funnels. In 2-3 weeks, they launched them, and then like for like you need actually like few days to collect the data for every funnel, understand how it performs. Then you just turn off like the worst performing funnels and you scale the now best performing funnels. In mobile, well, it's just not possible to do that in with this kind of speed. So like having all of that, it really increases the revenue for a lot of apps. Mostly, well, before, like people were saying that it works really great for health and fitness, these kind of apps. But now we see way more apps coming to these fields, like AI note takers, photo editing apps, and stuff like that.
And you
Yeah,
haven't
yeah.
even talked about the fact that if you are using WebDApp, then you are avoiding some of the fees that the App
Yes.
Store and Google Play charge.
Yes, really. And you don't pay 30% to the App Store. It yeah, like for instance, like on App Store, you can have like 15% if you apply for a small business program. And with web payments, it's like a myth that you can pay just like 3%, something like that. Like your effective commissions will be way more higher because of the, like even in Stripe, they say that you pay 2.9% plus 30 cents, something like that. But as a result, you may pay 6, 7, or even 8% because they will have international fee, they will have conversion fees. Some payment methods can have like higher commissions. So with the result, like you pay not 3, but well, okay, 7, maybe 8. If your users are in United States and your legal entity is somewhere else, for instance in Europe, then the commissions will be higher because of these currency exchanges. But still, yes, it's a way to optimize your costs and increase revenue too. Yes, I completely forgot about that.
So there's a lot of things that go on there. Marketing efficiency, one of them, obviously, and on the back end, keeping more of the dollars that you actually take in the door. So those are good things generally. One of the things that I was wondering when I was listening to chat, do you have to be a larger company to do this? Because you said, top apps can save a lot. And we know that honestly, for years, some of the top games have been accepting payments off store. And in some cases, that's as high as 80% of their revenue is off store. And that was when it was perhaps a little shady in terms of at least Apple and Google's regulations. But now, of course, if you have a multi-platform app, you can totally do that, and it's totally legit. It's even written into the guidelines, App Store guidelines, for example, that sort of thing. But how big do you need to be to make this pay off? Can you even do it as a small startup?
Yeah, I don't want to sound like to promoting our service, but like you don't need to be that big or like to start playing with web funnels. We saw a lot of companies who like basically like the whole quiz you can generate with ChatGPT. Like you don't need to our platform or any other platform. So like the quiz is pretty simple. Like you can go to your competitors, you can look for what they are doing. You can then go to ChatGPT and ask generate spin questions that will uncover the problem of the user and increase the the conversions. So you can build that part like relatively easier. For the budgets, like the quiz. So the quiz will be like relatively easy. Then there are like problems with the payments. You have to iterate with introductory offers with Stripe. You can't do that using the standard forms. You have to write your scripts. You have to write webhooks. So, and it all becomes way more complex. And when you will add like Facebook conversion events, and so like when you dive in, you have to like have the more complex stuff than just the quiz. There are platforms like, for instance, that simplify that, but even like small companies, they can do it by themselves. It just will take a lot of time for them. And for the budgets that you have to spend on Meta, it really depends on your current state, how you currently make advertising. Like, for instance, if you never did paid ads on Meta, then you will need more money to just figure out not web funnels, but like how to do the marketing at all. So you will need to understand like who is your audience, what creatives they will like, what are the best performing creatives. You will fail on this path a lot of time. So you need to spend like thousands and thousands of dollars to understand how it performs. Yeah, but if you already know your audience, if you already have your creatives ready, if you already have your um, Meta ad account that is like warmed up, and it knows your users, then like we had a lot of cases when our clients, they started with, I don't know, like 500 a day, and in a few days they found their creative channel feed, and then they gradually started to scale their existing campaigns. There are cases when it doesn't perform like that well.
It's interesting because you're talking a lot about Meta, and the Meta Pixel and stuff like that. And I was recently chatting with Funnel Fox as well, probably a competitor of yours, and they were heavily onto Meta. And I was chatting with, I think it's Jessica Basego, who used to work at Paired and a couple other places, and she was talking about web to app, and she was talking a lot about Meta as well. It's interesting that there's a lot of this chat about Meta because it seems like a couple things are going to happen if you're going to do that. One, obviously Meta is global, so that's great, and they're huge, and they have tons of inventory, and that's wonderful and everything. Two, they tend to be a little bit more expensive, but if they deliver, then you don't really care. Three, they tend to hit a bit of an older audience, at least for Facebook and some of their other platforms, probably Threads to a degree, which I don't think they monetize heavily right now. I guess Instagram would have a range there, right? But it's not TikTok, right? It's not getting the youth necessarily. That's potentially a good thing if you're looking to monetize via subscriptions, because older people are more likely to have money and be able to and be willing to spend money. And so that's an interesting thing there. But talk about why you've been so focused and why the whole space seems quite focused on Meta right now.
So basically, first on web funnels, older audience pay really better than the younger audience. In a lot of funnels in health and fitness, like weight loss or some psychology related funnels.
Young people are fit by default and thin by default almost. So
Yes. So like the audience of these funnels are like older people. This is like the first thing. Next, their algorithm, which is really good. So like with Meta, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, you just create really nice, catchy creatives, and you set up what we call like broad campaigns. Hey, show this advertising to all the users from United States older than 30 years old. That's it. This is like the wall setting that you do. You don't set up all the interests or like social demographic parameters. You don't do that. Algorithm optimizes by itself. So like your goal is to create a video creative, and video creative will be your targeting. So like only the users who are interested in your product, in what you are selling, will click on this ad. And yeah, so Meta has a really nice audience. Then their algorithm is really good, and well, they're just like the biggest platforms in terms of the span. Yeah, for a lot of cases, we have TikTok too. So like we have integration with Facebook, with TikTok, and still TikTok like is, I would say, like number 2 platform. And only after that we have Google search. But well, it's really small, and every time it's really hard to set up web funnels with Google search. because like
That seems a big miss for Google because there's a huge movement here, obviously. And maybe that's counter competitive for Google because, of course, the more web funnels there are, the less revenue they'll run through Play Store, right? So maybe there's some reasons there, but maybe they just haven't seen it yet. Maybe it's not big enough for them to pay attention to yet because Google is still the giant. I mean, it's still what 2, 3, 5x what Facebook is. And so there's a lot of opportunity there, but obviously they haven't optimized for this. And of course, there's a whole universe of other providers out there as well, ad partners and stuff like that maybe haven't jumped on it as well. Okay, cool. So we've talked about why people are going, what they're getting. You can do it at any size. That's cool. We've always been worried about drop off, right? And the handover from going from the web to the app has always been a challenge. There's a lot more now there that connects that, right? There's deep links, there's deferred deep links, there's send me a link via SMS, there's getting an email address in the onboarding so you can continue the conversation later on, making a user multi-platform. A multi-platform customer is much more valuable because you can reach them in many different ways, not just one. What's your take on connecting the web to mobile? Because it can be the same device and there's still a challenge there. It can be totally different devices and it's a little bit bigger of a challenge there. How do you see that whole situation?
So you're talking about the drop off after the user like already paid for the product, or
Actually, if they've paid, they're probably going to get the app, right? So maybe there's almost zero drop off there, but the drop off between the click and going through at least part of the onboarding, and then not quite getting to the app itself.
yeah. So the main metric with web to app funnels is not like the conversions into quiz completion. The main metric is return on ad spend. So this is like the only thing that you have to focus on. And with the quizzes, the long quizzes, like we don't have to worry about the users drop off during the quiz. We have to worry about the users who complete the quiz and they are on the paywall and they are not ready to pay.
That is a great insight. And I think probably I was mentally approaching it from a perspective of like a couple years ago when, you've had some web landing pages, but it was a landing page, right?
Mhm.
And it wasn't a funnel. And it was like, am I going to get them from the landing page to the app download? Because the download was the key. If you got the download, that was gold. What you're saying right now is that in the current reality of web funnels, hey, get the payment.
Yes.
Once you've got the payment, you've won. They're going to go get the app. They're going to go use a service. And that's a much simpler scenario.
Yes. So like you have to optimize not like the downloads, not the completion of the quiz, but the payments. And to optimize the payments, you have to convince the user to buy your application. Basically, like they were watching their TikTok or Reels and they just clicked on advertising, and you have like literally 2-3 minutes to convince them to buy your application. And to do that, you don't just show like 3 onboardings from your 3 screens from your mobile onboarding. You have to you have to use a psychology of sales, and usually these funnels, they focus not on the product, so they don't promote the product. They don't talk about the product features. They talk about user problems, their needs, their desires, their vision of their future. So, and we usually recommend, and this is how we do for our clients. There is a book called Spin Sales. Spin Sales, it came from like B2B sales actually. And the whole idea of the book is you don't, when you go to like an enterprise sale meeting, something like that, you don't start by promoting your product and selling your features. You at first ask like, hey, could you please explain your current situation? How in your company you do this part of business. Okay, and what problems do you have there? Okay, when you have these problems, how they affect your life? Okay, and only then you start not selling your product, but explaining how these problems will be solved with your product. So we like to do the same approach with web funnels. That's why they are usually so long. You can't like convince the user to buy by just showing for ad promotion screens showing saying like, hey, we have a best app and we have these features. They don't care
Exactly.
about your features. So you have to start with user problems. You have to actualize the problem to the user. Basically, like you have to increase the anxiety in the user's head. Like it's like in this Inception movie. You don't directly sell your product. You ask the questions, so the user will ask these questions themselves, and they start thinking about their problem, and they will increase the value of the problem that they have. So by the end of the quiz, they will really want to solve their problem, and it will be not about your product. Because in a lot of applications, we know in a lot of web funnels, it's not that clear what users are paying for. Like it's not clear, is it a mobile application or is it like a video course, or like what will happen after the paywall? It's not always clear. But what they sell is like the life after the problem is solved.
It's solution selling, absolutely. And now I have to rewatch the movie Inception. It's been a few years, and so I'm
Yeah.
wondering if I'll get the kick. And where's my little thing to spin and make sure?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I got to check all that out. Okay, so let's say you've got a good web funnel. What are the features? What is included? You've talked about kind of what you build into it. It's solution selling, right? It's like what's your future you? What's that look like? But what are the features of a good web funnel? Are there some common ones?
The good funnel behaves like a friendly psychologist, like friendly therapist that talks to you, and they understand you, they support you. And so they don't do just like a questionnaire, like, hey, how old are you? Where are you from? Like, what is your problem? What is your goal? Okay, I have a solution for you. No, it's not like that. So it's great when you can like role play your quiz, like take someone from your team, they will be a user and you will be the quiz. And like if there will be a dialogue between you, and if it will be like a friendly dialogue, and the person who will answer the questions, they will feel that they are heard, this is a good funnel. This is a good quiz. Um, but it's about like the feeling that the quiz should create. The other thing is like the structure. Like structure again, as I already mentioned, the book spin sales. You start with situation questions, which are usually like pretty simple. Then using these questions, you actualize the problem to the user. Then you start asking about like how this problem affects your life. And then you ask the questions that like visualize the life after for the user. So this is like the common structure of the funnel. Um, I'd like here to highlight the first screen. It's like one of the most important screens in the whole funnel. Usually you will see a drop off on the first screen. Like it can range from 70 to 30% drop off. So we had funnels where like 60% of users drop off on the first screen, but still they convert. So you have to experiment a lot with the first screen because it affects not only the conversion from visitor to start quiz, but it also affects the quiz completion and the sales. Because on the first screen, you have to make a clear value proposition to the user, like why do they need to complete this quiz? What they will get in the end, how their life will be different after completing this quiz. So, and this is like the most important part. Then you do the spin scenario to actualize the problem to the user and explain them how they will move from point A to point B, where they will be happy or free or get more money, something like that. And then in the end, you show them a paywall where like you focus on the point B, where you clearly show them how their life will be different. Like, so yeah. And on the paywalls on the web, they are also different from mobile paywalls, because like in mobile, like we experimented a lot with a lot of like before in previous company that I worked. We experimented a lot with the paywalls, and usually like the most simple paywall that is saying like, choose your plan. We have these 5 features and subscribe to a free trial. They convert way more better than any other complex paywalls, because the user already downloaded your application. They kind of like invested their megabytes, their time to download your application. They read reviews. They understand that we are not in an app store. They know how to cancel their subscription. So you have to simplify the payment for them. And in mobile, again, like the paywalls are relatively simple. But on the web, like if you do not convert the user on the paywall, they will drop off. You can use retargeting to get them back, but you may return maybe like 10%, maybe 15%, like in the best case. So you have to, on the paywall, you have to like really sell. And there, usually the structure of the paywall is you start with the offer, the commitment, the value proposition to the user, like how their life will be different. Then you, and it's great to be specific with details, like lose your 20 pounds in 3 weeks without any
Wow,
problems.
that's magic.
Yes, but just by doing
Drinking
yoga,
water.
drinking water, or walking, or doing yoga on your sofa, or spending like 2 minutes a day. So like be specific, because they will visualize and understand like what they're paying for. When you will say like, hey, lose your weight or be a better version of yourself, well, it's not that clear. They don't understand like what will be the result. And people love to pay for the result. They love to move responsibility from themselves to someone else. So, and if you will say like, hey, with us, you will lose your 20 pounds. And because of that, they will be ready to pay. So yeah, you put this value proposition on the paywall, then you show the prices. Pretty easy pricing. Usually we don't sell like plans that are different in terms of like features. They can be different by price, obviously, and by periods, like weekly, that will switch in 1 week to a monthly subscription with a discount for the first month, and yearly subscription with a discount for first year, or week, month, 3 months, something like that. So yeah. And then for those users who are not ready to pay, you have to work with their obstacles and the question that they will have in their head. And the question, like the first question will be like, why should I pay? Who are you? Like, can I trust you? Because like you're asking to put my bank card on web to some website that I didn't see like 3 minutes ago. So you have to convince them and answer their questions, and they will be like, can I trust you? Who else is using you? Again, how can I trust you? What are users? What other users are saying? If I don't like it, how can I get my money back? How the process will look like? what I am paying for. Is it a mobile application or a video course or like a real consultation with a real person? How like the product inside will look like. So we have to make the paywall way more longer to answer all of these questions.
Super interesting. You want to make it easy for the person who's ready to go right now, and you want to have some fallback for those who aren't actually ready at the moment. Cool.
Yes.
I think we've pretty much covered everything that we wanted to talk about. I did want to hit verticals. We've been talking a lot about health and fitness, and that's, of course, a common vertical for web to app and a common vertical for app subscriptions. You also see app subscriptions in other verticals. You see them in gaming, but you don't really see web to app. You see that for taking payments, but you don't really see onboarding for that. I'm not totally sure why. What other verticals are you seeing more take up in?
Health, fitness, mindfulness, education, they are like already big. Utilities are getting better. We had a lot of references and we had a lot of clients with like, AI note takers, photo and video apps, applications for like creating music. So in all of them, like for utilities, usually the funnels are shorter because there is no that big problem that you can actualize to the user. But still, by asking the questions, you like promoting your application. For instance, like you can show a screen showing like, hey, we have a synchronization with iCloud, Google Drive, and Dropbox. But if you ask the same question, like what platforms are you using or what platforms do you want your recordings to be synchronized with? And then you list the same questions. This is like the better way to promote the features in your product, because when you just promote your features, users will just click continue because this is what they do. But if you ask their question, then they will start saying, okay, I may need to do synchronization with Google Drive. And by that, they increasing the value of your product. So like
suddenly it's relevant.
Yeah. So we have a lot of utilities, AI girlfriends, all the like a lot of applications for like planners, like ADHD related stuff, like both mindfulness, educational courses, or some to-do list apps. So like a lot of different use cases that I didn't think that would succeed before we launched them. After that, well, it became like really interesting that a lot of use cases can be sold using web funnels. For gaming, yes, for gaming, still it's not a solution because usually you have to sell subscription, but in gaming there are not that much subscriptions. They have a lot of in-app purchases, so you have to like let the user dive into your game.
Yeah, I think for gaming, people want to actually jump in, get in there. Freemium is the model for basically everybody. Jump in. And if you like it, then you might buy a few things. And if you really like it, then you might buy a subscription, a battle pass, a monthly pass, an extra, regular doses of gems or power-ups or boosts or whatever, or something like that, right? But nobody has a gaming problem necessarily. I mean, some people have a gaming problem. They're spending too long on game, right? But, they don't, you have maybe a time utilization problem. You have a fun problem or something like that, right? But it's not the same type of thing. I think that you jump into a game, there's a million out there, you find one, and when you really like it, then you might start to invest in it. So I totally see that as well.
Yeah.
Igor, we're going to have to call this to a close. It's almost midnight your time. I apologize. I do have morning slots. I promise you, if you're in Europe and you want to be on Growth Masterminds, I do have morning slots, which are like 5 p.m. your time. Igor didn't choose one. It's all good. Self-inflicted wound. Anyways, thank you so much for taking this time. I do appreciate it.
Thank you, John.